Are you tired of the rainbows and butterflies approach in multifamily investing, where everything unfolds seamlessly and everybody wins? You never see behind-the-scenes reality. If you resonate with our perspective, acknowledging that true insights emerge from navigating mistakes and challenges, then you're in the right place. Join Christy Keaton, your host, as she dives into the missteps and lessons learned encountered by active apartment operators. In these episodes, we embark on a journey to dissect and analyze the pitfalls within the multifamily project lifecycle, focusing on the crucial stages of finding, funding, fixing, or flipping a project. Instead of glossing over setbacks, we shine a spotlight on them, providing a valuable learning experience for our audience. Each episode concludes not only by revealing how the issue at hand was rectified, but also by sharing other priceless lessons derived from the experience. It's an unfiltered exploration of the multifamily investment landscape, revealing the intricate tapestry of challenges and solutions that make the journey worthwhile.
Hello, welcome back to another episode of Multifamily Missteps. My name is Christy Keaton, and I am your host. And I appreciate each one of you listening to our podcast. And if you're enjoying this, please give us a 5-star review and share this with your friends and colleagues. So today, I'm just going to chat a little bit with you about the importance of due diligence. And I know that a lot of us have either gone through due diligence or are on the verge of going through due diligence. But what I'm hoping today is to be able to kind of give a couple of nuggets that maybe we overlooked during our due diligence process. I'm going to share a couple of stories on things that I have overlooked in hopes that you may be able to not overlook those and have the pitfalls that I did during the process. So let's jump into it. So the first thing that I want to talk about is the financial due diligence. And everybody knows the financial due diligence includes the underwriting. So you've got to get your T12 and your rent roll. And if they don't have that, it's a little shaky, but you can get it done, right? So in the underwriting process, that's the main due diligence for the financials. But during the underwriting process, there's a couple of things that you want to make sure, without a shadow of a doubt, that you're assessing properly. And one of them is taxes. Taxes in the last couple of years have increased exponentially across the board. Not sure why that is, but what we do know is that it does increase. The property is assessing right now. If you're looking at a deal, your property is assessing for what the prior owner or the current seller is paying, right? But your property is going to be reassessed. It's not always reassessed in the first year, but a lot of times it is. As soon as they see a new ownership on the deed, they want to reassess the property and see what it sold for, reassess the property at the purchase price. So the number one thing I would say is make sure that you're assessing the taxes properly. The second thing that we were all blown out of the water with this one over the last year is insurance. Oh my goodness, has insurance gone astronomically insane, right? So what we want to do is make sure that you call a broker, right? Don't assess them for what's on the T12. Don't assess the property taxes for what's on the T12. Make sure that you contact your for the taxes, contact the local government and find out, with your county, city, find out what the taxes are, looking the percentage that they're doing right now for the taxes, and do it on your purchase price. The next thing is your insurance. Call a broker. It's so much easier just to call a broker and say, hey, I'm looking at this deal. Here's the address. Can you give me a number? They'll be more than happy to give you a number. They won't even charge you for it. Send them a cookie or something, right? So the next thing I would say is your renovation cost, because we know that renovation costs have gone up tremendously in the last, say, 3 to 4 years now. You know, with COVID going on and everything happening like that, a lot of things have increased, and those increases have not been able to drop. So make sure that you call your local contractor to come out and look. The contractors don't mind at all coming to look at the property. They really don't. Even better, if you find a property management company that has a project management department, they'll be more than happy to assess the property as well, right? To find out what it's going to cost to get those renovations done. So doing all three of these things to make sure that your business plan isn't absolutely blown out of the water or crushed to a nothing is best for yourself and for your investors. There's a few other small details that I'd like to kind of jump into on the financial due diligence. A lot of this some people think that this can fall into the physical due diligence or the financial due diligence. I kind of put it under the financial because that's what I am used to. And the first thing is your leases. So if you have a lease, then you have the revenue, right? Right. So you look at your leases to make sure that they have a job and that they're paying rent and how much they're paying, to make sure that what the lease says lines up with what's on the rent roll, which lines up with what's on the T12. We want to make sure that all lines up. The second thing to look at is what contracts are in place. And by that, I mean, do you have a cable contract in place that we have to take over because they're transferable? Is there and how much is that going to cost us? Is there a laundry contract on the property? If you have a laundry room, do the washer and dryers belong to the property, or are they leased through a contract, or leased through a contracting company? Sorry about that. So have that done. And let me say, we have a property management company that we love to have them just come and walk the properties, right? We have a property that we did some due diligence on. Now this property, this property, we actually had the property management company walk with us, and there were still things that we missed. So like one of the major things that we missed during the financial due diligence was the residents not having employment, but they were still leased an apartment. I'm not quite sure why that happened. I don't know if it was because they were selling and they needed to keep the occupancy up, but they literally leased them without having a job. Like literally said unemployed on their application, and they still approved them to move in. Nope, they didn't have Social Security. I thought the same thing. They didn't have disability. They didn't have any of that. It was just unemployed, and they were still able to lease. So I can only assume that that particular time during those leases were that the manager knew that it was going to be leased or going to be sold. And so she just didn't care. She was just told to keep the occupancy up. So she just approved everybody. Well, that was not great for us, right? So anyway, we ended up rectifying that. When we moved in, we were able to redo all of the leases to make sure that people had unemployment or employment in place. How are you paying rent? Things like that. And the ones that weren't paying rent, well, anyway. So let's move on to physical due diligence here for a minute. So physical due diligence, a common mistake that's really made, and it's so surprising to me when people tell me this, but they don't do a full walkthrough of the property. They'll check one or two units, or they'll check the vacant units, and it all looks okay. So they're done. All right, let's go. Let's sign the papers. Without actually walking every single unit. You have a property management company that will walk the units with you if you tell them you need to come walk these units with us, right? So you get the property management company to walk the property with you, and that allows you to see the problems that you have. Not even just with the vacant units, but also the occupied units. There may be things that are happening in an occupied unit that nobody even knows about. So when somebody tells me that they just don't walk there's no reason to walk all the units. Yes, there is. You need to walk all of those units. You don't know if somebody has some kind of drug formation going on in their, cooking or whatever going on in their apartment. You need to walk those units. You need to have them take pictures, right? So take your pictures, write down, unit 1 has this color of wall, or unit 1 has a wall that's got holes in it, or whatever it is. Walk the entire place. The second thing that I've learned being in the industry for a while is inspections. People don't have all of the inspections done. They won't check the HVACs, they won't check the foundation, the roofing, the electrical, the plumbing, all of the major things that will absolutely kill your deal. They won't have the inspections done. Now, look, I know that it costs money. I know that it costs money for the inspections, but we learned a lesson on one of our properties. It happened during physical due diligence portion, and we scoped the plumbing. We scoped the lines. Well, we scoped some of them, right? We scoped enough of them. It was a $2,500 cost, and it was going to cost, I don't remember how much to fix the problem that they found. It was, I think that there was a route going through that building, the plumbing from that building. So we had them scope, I think, 4 buildings out of all of the units that we had, and it was over 100 units. And so we had these little problems, and we fixed those little problems. We were able to go back to the seller and retrade and say, some of the things, this is what's happening here, and we'd like you to help us with this because this has been backing up in the apartments for a while, and from what we understand, you knew about it, that kind of thing. So done. We got those scoped. They found a few things. We rectified it. The seller helped us fix it. It was all good. But what we didn't expect was that we should have scoped all of them. We should have scoped all of the major lines, because we had the building here that we scoped. We rectified the little route. And then there's a parking lot, and then there's a building over here. What we didn't realize was there was a collapsed line in this building. Nothing had started backing up at the moment. It had just happened, apparently. So that ended up collapsing completely, and it cost us about $130,000 to rectify. That was money out of our pocket that we were not expecting to have to spend. We were not expecting that. We ended up having to take our renovation money for that and rectify that situation. Now, with that said, we were able to get our renovation money back and things like that. But those are just things that you really need to do, right? Have the inspections done, like literally have the inspections done. It was a $2,500 cost to scope that line. It might have been a $6,000 or $8,000 cost to scope all of the lines. I can't remember the number on that, but it would have saved us, or at least allowed us to go back to the seller with this $130,000 estimate saying, hey, it's going to cost us this because this line is collapsed. And we would have been able to save some of our money on that, right? So the thing I'll tell you in my experience that will help you avoid the things is just to make sure that the deal isn't actually a good deal. Make sure that all of your boxes are checked, right? And what I mean by having your boxes checked is that you write the list and you check off the list. Make sure that you're underwriting it correctly with your taxes, with your insurance, with your renovation costs. And if you don't have somebody right now that you can say, hey, would you look at this and make sure that it's right? You need to find somebody. You need to find somebody to make sure you're not missing something. Because I can tell you, my partner, Amy Silvis, and I, when we would do underwriting, or I still do a lot of underwriting, but when we do underwriting, she'll send hers to me and I'll send mine to her just to make sure we haven't missed something. I mean, I've seen too many of my colleagues in foreclosure due to unforeseen tax increases and unforeseen insurance increases. I'm sure that you have too. There is a lot going on in Texas right now. And there's a lot still coming down the pike in the next 6 months or 8 months. You're going to see more and more foreclosures because the taxes and insurance were not assessed properly. So just make sure that that's happening. And honestly, I've seen some colleagues that are fighting the good fight to keep the property going because of taxes and insurance increases. I've seen renovation costs skyrocket and blow business plans completely out of the water. And honestly, that's not good for you. It's not good for your business plan. It's not good for your investors. So your physical due diligence, just make sure that you have more than one set of eyes on that as well. Make sure that you have somebody walking the property. Whether you go or whether you don't, have a property management company go. Take pictures. Have a process in place where they take pictures and they write down, Unit 1 has has holes in the walls and it's occupied. Okay, we know that if Unit 1 ever moves out, there's holes in the walls that we have to fix, right? So just make sure that you have more than just one set of eyes on everything that you do. There's power in numbers. Take your property management company with you. Go unit by unit, write down, take pictures, and assess the property, taxes, insurance, and renovations to the best of your ability using what you have available to you. Until next time. Thank you for listening to another episode of Multifamily Missteps. Your dedication to our podcast is truly appreciated. Please help us spread the word and make our community even stronger. The valuable lessons that our guests bring each episode will help you and others avoid these missteps along your journey. Hit the subscribe button, take a screenshot of the episode you just listened to, post it on your social media, and tag myself and my friend Jerome Myers. You never know, you might find yourself our next featured guest. I cannot wait to continue this journey with you. Until next week, stay tuned and stay inspired.